Welcome guys. This is episode 4 already. We're really picking up some pace here, and today we are going to practice traffic pattern flying. A very basic hardcore skill, but a very important one, and one that I'm really excited about to learn. So I hope you enjoy.
I'm passing through 500 Shamrock, 715. 715, 134, decimal 125.
So, well, if everything is set correctly, my dad is now live here on audio with us, but we're trying to experiment with the audio. Dad, can you say hi or something that we can test the connection? No, I cannot hear you. Let me check if this works, because that would be nice if we can chat while we are flying to give it another dimension. Refresh the page. So once we get that figured out, we're going to fly traffic patterns, and my dad is going to perhaps help me with the checklist and read items, and we'll chat on about Flight Simulator while we are flying, and let's just see how that goes. Just having fun here, using Twitch and Flight Simulator to see whatever happens. Oh, let me see. I need to chat with him while I'm doing this stuff. Seems to get working. Dad, can you hear me? Are you here? Chatting with him to see if it works. Well, while we're waiting for that, what I'm going to do is, again, following the checklist, following the flow, to see if everything is much more memorized than before. I wasn't really disappointed with last time, but this time, again, I would like to see a little bit more improvement in getting to know the cockpit and the buttons and the flows of the different checks. I guess that then a very important thing that I also forgot a couple of times last time is always making sure after I've done my flows to use the checklist to see if I haven't forgotten any items. Especially a takeoff roll last time, I forgot about that. Hey, I can see some weird activity there. As you can see, that's not a drone, I believe. I don't know what it is, but well, interesting. Perhaps we will hear some chatter on the CTF frequency here. So that's I guess that's a main learning point when evaluating my flight performance of last time, to see if I can do if I can check my my performance and make sure, verify that I've actually walked through each item on the checklist before I actually carry out the particular procedure. For example, with the takeoff roll, I was too hasty and thought, well, I've just memorized it, and well, there I went. So that was the whole idea. So I'm hoping that this time I'm can be more careful and more aware of what I'm doing. Another thing that we're going to do is my dad is in. Dad, can you hear me? Does it work? I don't know if it's working. Well, we'll just figure stuff out while we go. Yeah, so what we're going to do is we start with the map.
Yes, I can hear you. Great to be here. And well, it's an adventure, I can say.
Cool, Dad. I'm noticing that there is a lag of about 4 or 5 seconds or so. So perhaps we should not mess with the C3 chat window. We would just, well, well, let's see. I will put mine on. Can you hear me now? You're now hearing me through...
I can hear you.
Yeah, so now the lag is disappeared. So I guess you need to turn off the audio, or perhaps turn down the audio of Twitch or something like that. So, because otherwise the lag between your talk and my talk is too big. And then I hear you about 10 seconds after you've actually said something. So we need to enable the volume through C3. Otherwise stuff gets messy, I guess. So let me know if that works out.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so that was my dad. So he actually introduced me to Flight Simulator a while ago, and I will ask him some questions while we're flying for you guys to get to know him. And while we are flying, we just chat on about Flight Simulator and about the flight, and well, hopefully get to know you guys better too. But anyway, what we're going to do is traffic pattern flying. So this sectional chart today isn't very useful to us because we just stay within the traffic pattern area at Oceano as always, or at the beginning of this season. But still, I always love to have a look at a sectional chart because they look so cool. I really love charts. But anyway, what's more important is the weather, right? So as part of every flight, introduction of each flight, I would like to get a much better understanding of how we should incorporate weather briefings with our flight planning and flight simulator, because we use Active Sky Next and it downloads real world weather, so why not use actual weather briefings? Now, as you can see, what's also funny, we have flown yesterday and the day before yesterday, so you can actually see how the weather develops looking at these surface analysis maps, as they are called. So you can see here a high pressure, low pressure area, which is now moved inward more away from the ocean towards the land. I remember yesterday there were a couple of low pressure areas here on the ocean side here. So actually weather has been improving a bit, which is a good thing. But again, this is a very general chart and it's not that informative. It's better to go on to this chart. This is a much more informative chart, I believe, because now it's not just raw weather data. Now it's actually depicting weather interpreted by weather experts, aviation weather experts, in terms of VFR weather, marginal VFR weather, and IFR weather. I have some comments about that. Disgraced Pilot is another user, also a Twitch user, a great stream about Flight Simulator, or actually just flying in general, who's commented to my last episode and gave some tips on how to better understand how that weather, ceiling, cloud separation actually works. Also some planning issues that I will discuss in just a moment after we briefed the weather. But again, this is a very helpful chart. It shows on the left side the current weather and on the right side the forecasted weather. And based on that, we can determine whether it's safe for us to fly, right? Now, the legend here, it shows on the right color here is IFR weather. So enclosed in those areas like this one and that one and this one and that one, that's IFR weather. So pretty low visibility, low cloud ceilings. And this cloud shape, blue cloud shape, this depiction is marginal VFR, which is it's legal as a private pilot to fly in or around. But it's getting close to IFR weather, and for many pilots that's even more than they can handle, marginal VFR, even though it's legal to fly in. As I mentioned, every pilot has its own, or should have its own personal limits in terms of weather conditions. I don't know what mine are, but I'll bet you clear skies are the best conditions for me to fly in currently. Well, there's some other depictions here, moderate and great turbulence, freezing levels, but marginal VFR weather and IFR weather are the most interesting and most useful depictions here. By the way, Dad, I guess that the chat has vanished and doesn't work. Perhaps we should do it tomorrow to have another experiment to see if it works. And we'll just stick around in the chat and chat with us, but we should try out a different approach perhaps tomorrow. I don't know what the fix is. Let me see. Tim, do they use Zulu time? Yes, they do. So you can see here on the left side, this is that were the current weather conditions in the morning at 06 Zulu time in Zulu time terms, and the right side is the forecast for 18 Zulu. Well, it's already past 18 Zulu. It's currently 19 Zulu. But then again, it shows you kind of like the movement and how the weather developed really over the last few hours. So we should look at this map on the right, and you can see no marginal VFR weather. This is proper flying weather, you could say. Moving on, these are the air mats showing kind of like the same interpreted weather conditions by weather experts. So you can see here from San Francisco, here down to LA. Well, Oceano is over here, I believe. So no IFR weather, but it's more on the east side is IFR weather. Does that correspond a bit? Well, not really, but still this is, if we look back, I'm now at the previous page that we just seen, this is 18 Zulu. So it could be that in the last hour, because it's now 19 Zulu, that some IFR weather is here, or what's the time of this? That's I guess that's a better one. Valid until 1800 Zulu is this air mat. So that's also old information. So perhaps this IFR region area is also already moved away. Still, Oceano is here on the ocean side, so we don't have to deal with this IFR condition. But it's good from when you go from page to page or from weather chart to weather chart to get an overall more holistic, coherent picture of what the weather is like. Not only understanding or analyzing each weather chart separately, but to make some kind of a narrative, some kind of a more complete picture of what is actually happening in terms of weather around your area of flying. Airmats, SIGMATs. So turbulence area here. Here's clouds are on the ocean. Some rain high up, far above, far north of San Francisco. So nothing that concerns us. These are convective information. Well, as you can see on the west coast, no convective SIGMATs active, so no convective cloud buildups, thunderstorms, which is a good thing. Satellite, well, we've already seen some satellite images here, so you can see this is more like a time lapse. You can see that some weather front is coming in with clouds, which confirms, I guess, the earlier picture that we've seen, perhaps. Extending this warm front and cold front, so it's moving inward from ocean, which is quite typical for the west coast, I believe. The stuff is coming in from the ocean, but still looking good. These are the wind speeds. Well, not that high velocity of winds in our case. That had more to do on the ocean. Precipitation, also not in our area. And obviously, because we're just flying traffic patterns, which is very, very local, weather forecasting isn't that relevant. Still, it's very safe to do so. I mean, even within a half an hour, weather can change. So it's always good to take a look at the weather, at these weather forecasts. But obviously, when you do plan for a cross-country flight, then weather briefings are much more relevant, obviously. Then METARs, something that is similarly shown on SkyVector. More depicted more graphically. Let me see where we are. We are about here. Here's Oceano. So these are two Delta. This is San Luis and Santa Maria, I believe. Airports that are in between us. One north of us, one south of us. And you can see the wind direction, which is going to that direction, I believe. I think so. We should check. Can I click on this and see? It is 300. Yeah. So it's coming from 300. So the wind is going that direction. Oh, this is confusing. I believe because the wind is, if you say that the wind is coming from 300, then it's coming from that direction. So it's going from the ocean, land inwards. Yeah, which makes sense. Okay. And as you can see by the colors, Sky Vector shows the same. I will show you in just a minute. By the green color, the green buttons or whatever you can call it, you can see that it's VFR weather. And by how many chords, you can see what the cloud ceiling coverage is. So this is, I don't know if this means, I guess that the cloud coverage is like 75% of the sky or so. Or is it just 25%? I don't know. I should look that up. But this is perfect weather to fly, or not perfect, but good weather to fly in. Well, then the area forecast is like a more abbreviated weather briefing forecast for a particular area, region in the States. Well, these are all different areas. We are mainly concerned with Southern California. Southern California, coastal. Well, there's a lot less information than yesterday. Yesterday was more bad weather. We couldn't fly to our practice area even because weather was too bad. And as you can see now, weather has actually improved, and well, there's less going on. So I guess here coastal lines scattered at 5,000. Outlook VFR, which is good. Inland scattered at 2,500. Scattered 5,000. 2 layers. At 15 Zulu time, it's going to be 5,000. Outlook VFR, Outlook VFR, Outlook VFR, and this is all. When is this forecast generated? Well, it doesn't really matter because these are mentioned here, these Zulu times. So this is good, and we're going to verify with ADIS information soon, but this shows us that the weather is actually fine. Well, NOTAMs, I'm not going to check those because, well, let's do it just for the sake of consistency. Oceano Lima 52. View NOTAMs, nothing is going on here. And finally, we can file a flight plan. We're always flying on PilotEdge. I'm not going to mention anymore what PilotEdge is. I've done that in the previous episodes, but it's one of my favorite add-ons. This time we're not going to really depart the traffic area of Oceano, so I'm not going to plan or file a flight plan. It's a bit silly in this case, I believe. So that's that. That's the briefing. As you can see here, by the way, on SkyVector, you can also see these METAR graphical depictions here. So this is San Luis, and this was indeed Santa Maria. So this is all VFR weather, which is great. Okay, back to the cockpit switch. Here we are. So, oh yeah, no. There's something that I would like to mention. That guy on YouTube, Disgraced Pilot. I guess he's a real world pilot. He seems very knowledgeable about aviation. Thank you, Disgraced Pilot, if you're watching this, for commenting and sharing some tips. What he said was, first off, last time we went to our practice area and we've flown from Oceano to this side, to this reservoir. And he said, well, you're right that this is it seems like a great space free for us to practice our flights, but if you look more carefully, you can see that these runways of these airports are actually in the direction of our practice area. And you can see here there's also an intersection or another runway that is pointing up to that practice area. So what does that mean? Probably, yeah, that there might be arrival procedures here or departure procedures here that assign pilots to particular vectors that they will probably fly above this Twitchell reservoir. So this is actually not a very safe practice area to fly in, because chances are pilots would come in to fly and arrive at San Luis or at... So next time we should actually decide to fly to another practice area that is more safe. So I guess that for determining a great practice area, you should also take into account the particular departure procedures for each nearby airport, because then you can make sure that you're not bumping into other aircraft arriving or departing from those airports, which makes perfect sense. Another comment he made was, another thing to think about is your characterization of VFR and IFR. Oh yeah, I'm just going to read this out loud. Can I also extend what he said? No, I can't, so I should just phrase it in my own words. So what I said was last time that in VFR conditions, or when we are private pilots, we should always maintain clear separation of clouds, namely 2,000 feet horizontal, 500 feet. Also, we should always ensure that there's 500 feet between us and the clouds above us. We should always fly at least 1,000 feet above clouds. And he said, well, that's correct, but it only applies to Echo airspace, Charlie airspace, and Delta airspace. But in G airspace, uncontrolled, totally uncontrolled airspace, which is in the case of this practice area, there's no airspace depictions here. The only restriction is that we should remain clear of clouds. So we can actually just sky scrape or cloud scrape along clouds, and that would be still legal for us to do. Perhaps not safe to do because it limits our visibility. Perhaps we should remain safe of other pilots, and if we are flying around the cloud, perhaps chances are an airplane could just pop out of that cloud. Thank you for following Disgraced Pilot. Thank you for hosting. And thank you for being here. I'm just mentioning your comments on YouTube, which are very, very useful. Thank you. So in those cases, we actually had much more room to explore the area and not be concerned that much with clouds. Still, to be safe, I think it's a good thing to take into account those cloud separation also for other safety reasons. But still, okay. So that's that. Hopping back to the cockpit, I would like to fly, guys, and just do traffic pattern after traffic pattern after traffic pattern, just to drill and practice the procedures. I mean, there's a lot going on in a traffic pattern. It's actually quite hard to do it right. I mentioned some other time ago when I started my channel, I actually started with Periscope, which was a bad choice, but still I used Periscope to stream my first flight. And in that first episode, I mentioned that I almost think that flying a traffic pattern is something like how chefs in kitchens talk about how to make an omelette. I've heard Gordon Ramsay say on one time that he's actually, as part of how do you call that, of acquiring new chefs into the kitchen, the first assignment that they give new chefs is to make an omelette. And many new chefs, beginner chefs, say, oh, just an omelette. I mean, those guys are already, well, they went to cooking school and, well, done a lot of stuff. And now they should just cook an omelette. But to cook a perfect omelette actually requires lots and lots of skills. It's very quite hard to cook the perfect omelette. And I think that that's exactly the same for a traffic pattern. I think that a lot of flight simulator pilots, even real-world pilots, might say, "Oh, a traffic pattern that's so simple. I'm used to flying very complex SIDs and stars." But still, flying a perfect traffic pattern is quite challenging. So I'm really taking this serious and trying to do as best I can. So let's try. Last time I felt quite challenged to even make some standard rate turns and that stuff and stay on level. So we'll see. Thank you, Disgraced Pilot. You're absolutely right. There's something with Twitch there going on, which is quite strange. My dad noticed it too. Somehow Microsoft Flight Simulator disappeared from the playing list in Twitch. So now we're apparently playing another game, Dota. I don't know what that game is. It was showing League of Legends before, so I have no clue what Twitch is doing. But when I try to edit it, Microsoft Flight Simulator or X-Plane isn't in the list anymore. So I'm not hoping that the Twitch is actually banning us from its platform. I don't think so. Let me see. Okay, so I'm gonna start with flying. First thing that I'm going to do is check whether the cockpit is properly cold and dark. Doing that, let's see if I can do the flow myself, and we'll check afterwards. Remove the control wheel lock. Park and brakes are set. Life as an oxygen, well, I just imagine that is under my seat, so it is there. Fire extinguisher is in between these seats, it's also there. Just imagining that that's the case. I will open up a window because otherwise the windows get fogged up in A2A. Then ELT is set on auto. Cabin air is open, and there's not a lot of stuff that I should check there. Flaps are retracted, fully retracted. Mixture is full aft, prop is in. Propeller is also fully aft. Crossfeed left is okay. Trim is set. These should be set to open, those cowl flaps. Open, okay. And I guess, I mean, those are inlets, or I don't know if they are inlets or outlets, but they are beneath the belly of the Cessna. I can imagine that those are great spots for animals to stay over the night. So I guess it's a good thing to close them when you shut down by the end of a flight, just in case, and now open them when you start up. I don't know if that's the case, but it makes sense. Anyway, cowl flaps are open. Then all the radio sticks can just remain on, even though the master switch is off, the avionics master switch is off, but they can just stay on the on position. This is all okay. We'll set the altimeter later. Alternate static air pressure is off. Lights are all off. Avionics are off. Lights are all off. Beacon always remains on. Batteries alternator is off, and starter switch is set to off. Completed that first reset cabin check, I believe. Let me check. Control log remove, parking brake set, live oxygen set, fire extinguisher, cabin windows open, ELT we checked, cabin air, flaps, levers, alternate static air pressure, avionics master, pitot heat, lights, fuel tank selector, alternate battery. I've checked that. Good. Pre-flight interior inspection. So now we move on to see if the internal, if the systems actually work. What was the flow? Flow was the Pac-Man flow, which I didn't describe on my blog still. I will do that because Pac-Man sounds really silly, but I'm trying to graphically visualize the flow of checks so I can memorize them better. And somehow, if you look at the Cessna, I'm going to try to explain the Pac-Man stuff now. If you imagine a top-down view on the Cessna, it almost seems like this check is like a Pac-Man. So you first check the lights inside, and you go out, and then you go all the way around the airplane to check whether the lights and the pitot heat and the stall warning are working. And you go into the cockpit again, and you turn off the lights and the stuff, and pull down the flaps, which kind of seems like the Pac-Man kind of depiction, at least to me. So it doesn't really matter. Make up your own flow graphics. Okay, so what we're going to do is TrackIR on. Wow, that sounded good. A donation, €4 by Spencer. Thank you so much. You're the first donator. Well, actually, my dad donated a long time ago, even before I started Twitch. Which is really encouraging. But you are the first official one. Thank you, Spencer. That's really encouraging. Okay, so I turn on the batteries, not the alternator. In previous versions of Flight Simulator, that's kind of that battery red stuff here was always kind of like functioning as a master switch, which it isn't really. So I'm just turning on the master switch, so we see some readings here. We've got fuel, clock is on, we can see low oil pressure and vacuum, which is okay because the engine is off. We don't see any low fuel depiction, but that's something that goes on later. I need to stick to my flow. I'm going to turn on my lights, landing light, taxi light. This is the strobe lights, taxi lights, and I'm going to turn on my pitot tube. Pitot heat, which is now on. You can see the drain on the battery, by the way. So now I'm going to switch to my outside view. So I'm going to go outside. That button? Yeah. Again, EZDOK bug. I need to go through this backwards. Has nothing to do with A2A simulations, but I'm waiting for an upgrade of EZDOK to solve this, or some kind of other fix. So going outside. Boom, boom, boom. Stall warning. I need to turn on TrackIR to have a look here. Sorry, guys. Stall warning. Yeah, it's there. Whoop. Move on to the front of the plane. Flip, 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 flip. Taxi lights. Landing lights are on. Strobe light here is on. Navigation light is on that side. On the other side, it's on. 2 navigation light, strobe light, and the beacon light we can see is on. And now we should move on to the to the back of the airplane. There we are. This position light is also on, and beacon light was already on. We checked. Then we move on to the last bit, which is the pitot heat. Let's feel if it's warm, and it is. And then we go into the cockpit and turn all that stuff off, because we know that it's actually working, except for the beacon light. Done. So we know that the exterior lights are working. That's what we did just now. The batteries are still on, so I can turn that window off. Switching here on my Yoke, getting used to. Okay, so then we move on to the right. Then we turn down the flaps. I forgot about that last time, but I'm not going to forget this time. Flaps all the way down. Important here is to make sure that they come down in the same rate, because otherwise these flaps act like, yeah, ailerons, which is quite dangerous. Well, they come down in the same rate, which is a good thing. I should have turned on the avionics switch first, by the way, because that button is first in line, and then the flaps, and then we move up. It's kind of like a route, kind of like a flow. So that's the autopilot beeping. Everything is on standby in VFR mode 1200 and standby mode and transponder, which is good. On. This is CTEF. This is the ADAS of San Luis, which is still set from last time. Audio panel is set okay. Then you get it to the annunciator panel, low oil pressure, vacuum, and volts, which is okay because the engine is off. So obviously we have low oil pressure, vacuum, and a draining battery. Less draining, obviously, because we turn off the lights. And more importantly, no low fuel indication. Now, obviously, chances can be that these lights are simply not working, and we do have low fuel, even though this gauge is showing that we have fuel. So to test that, we've got a switch, and the lights are actually working, so we can reliably say that we have no low fuel. Well, not really fully 100%. The best way is just to check on the wing, which we're going to do in just a moment. Let me see, Spencer, let's get you to the con, Tim. You're welcome. Cool. Yeah, I would really like to visit Flight SimCon. Would you guys, are you guys considering to visit Flight SimCon? I mean, from the Netherlands, it's a long trip, but I would really like to meet all those guys. I would really like to meet the developers of A2A. Frugal, I would like to meet, and other community leaders. I think that would be really, really awesome. Anyway, check them out online. Flight SimCon 2016. It's the biggest flight simulator conference or event in the States. Moving on, annunciator panel. Then going to this direction. Clock. We can. No, it doesn't matter to set this, because when we turn off the battery soon, then these settings are reset. Fuel we have, and then we come here. We turn off the avionics, and then the battery. And that was the interior inspection. And I think that was it. Yeah. I forgot about turning on the avionics when I went to this side, but I corrected for that. So, well, it's not bad. Let's see, batteries. I did on lights. We checked the exterior lights, stall warning, stall pitot tube we checked. Avionics master on we did, autopilot, flaps, the DME radios, blah, 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 blah. Audio control panel we checked, low fuel annunciator we checked, fuel tank quality we checked, avionics master we checked, and battery off. Yes! Progress. I'm learning. Okay, and the most important thing here is I should always take my checklist to make sure to verify my flows. There's nothing wrong with the flow, but I should remember to do that soon. I should remember to do that at the takeoff roll. Yesterday I was too hasty. That's a bad thing. Okay, so now we can start with the exterior pre-flight. Well, I'm going to include that in the stream until I feel comfortable doing that, and then I guess I will start streaming when I have done these reset cabin and interior inspection, because perhaps it then becomes quite redundant. And well, I think if you guys think that I should include this each and every time in my stream, please let me know. But I guess that this becomes quite repetitive after a few episodes, so I'll just skip to the engine start and we get on with flying. But let me know in the comments at YouTube or in Twitch. We are together creating this series, so let me know. So exterior pre-flight again, by heart. Blip, 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 blip. I would like to see this screen. Yeah. And I would like to turn on TrackIR. A lot of stuff to do here. Again, backwards, because we have to obey EZDOK. Wiggle. Is there a wiggle in the flaps? Yes, there is. Are the hinges okay? Yes, they are. Ailerons. Hinges look okay. Remember, A2A Simulations simulates damaged flaps, ailerons, so these pictures are not static, they can actually change. So we actually need to study them and know what we're doing. Tie down, let's remove that. Stalling already checked. Fuel vent is here, is clean. Wheel chock, remove. Fuel drain, no contamination, no water. Then on top of the wing, let's see if we actually have fuel. This is the ultimate test, obviously, and I've seen in some YouTube movies that of real-world pilots saying that there are actually, well, not regularly, but it does happen that the gauge in the cockpit shows that you've got fuel, you've got no annunciator message, and still there's no fuel in the wing, or less fuel in the wing. So this is the ultimate test to see if you've got fuel in your wing, which is very a safe thing to do. Then static airport over here is clean. Then we're gonna take a look at the oil between 9 and 6 quarts here. It's got good color, which is okay. Then in front, the intakes are free. No bird's nests or whatever. General structure of the airplane is good. I also believe that you should actually, but I've seen pilots do that differently. Obviously, you should also feel the shape, the leading edge of the propeller blades to see if there are no dents or other stuff going on there that probably damage the propeller, but also just to make sure that the propeller is actually secure. Well, we cannot simulate that in Flight Simulator, but well, that's something that we should do in the real world too, I guess. Then a fuel drain here, no contamination. Static airport over here, clean. Fuel over here, also okay. Fuel drain here, contamination, no. Wheel chocks, tie down. Fuel vent is clear. Ailerons on the other side, blip, 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 look good. Wiggle, there is a wiggle. Hinges look okay. Tail, yeah, the tie down removed. Bolts are still in place. Here too. Wiggle trim tab. And making sure that the baggage door is closed, which it now is. Pitot tube you already checked. No pitot tube cover. And that concludes the... I forgot the antennas. I should have remembered my previous run in the previous episode before I do my checks, because otherwise I just, well, get this discoveries. I should also check, it's not really part of the A2A exterior walkaround, but I should also check the various antennas to see if they are secure, just by visual reference or visual observation, which I forgot again. Should remember that. Remember me. Let me know. Remind me next time in chat that I've forgotten. Perhaps you guys already did, because I didn't notice the chat at all. Far away from me, wrong side. Position. Okay. Let me see. Let's check. Tie downs 3 removed. Right trim tab. Right wing tie down. Transponder. Antenna. Yeah, the antennas I forgot to check. Static ports we did. Intakes we did. Yeah, check. So we completed the exterior walkaround. So we didn't find any issues. So we don't need to visit the maintenance hangar. Okay, pre-flight exterior inspection completed. So now we can move on to the engine start, before engine start checklist, which starts always with passengers and baggage on board. Guys, are you sitting comfortably? Are you on board? Are you on board with me on this flight? I hope you do, because we're gonna practice traffic pattern flying, as I already mentioned. I've got my seat belts on. Cabin doors we should close. TrackIR. Whoop. Door closed. That door is already closed. Okay. Passengers briefing. So traffic pattern flying left-handed or left-handed, left hand. Let's switch to the map. Yeah, it's a right pattern for runway 11. But since we've already seen in the weather briefing that the wind here, we can already check here by the way, is from 300, was it? Where are the winds? 0 knots. And there? 9 knots. Yeah, it's 010. Okay, 9 knots. I mean, that's also quite interesting, I found. I already mentioned that perhaps in the first episode, I don't know for sure, but winds calm conditions means that you can actually choose whatever runway to depart from, taking into account other pilots that are already flying on the airport and perhaps they've already chosen a particular runway and then it makes sense to follow them along. But it depends on from airport to airport. Kevin Myers from PilotEdge had a stream last week who was asked about this, which runway to use. And in a controlled airport, they only switch or flip the boat. I don't know what they called it. It was some kind of a weird phrase, but they flip runways based on changing wind directions. Only when real strong wind conditions, when the change is really extreme. Otherwise, it is much too much hassle for the controllers to change all the departures and arrivals, which makes sense. But on a controlled airport, I guess I've read somewhere around 10 knots or something like that. Then it becomes relevant to consider wind direction in this case. If it's 5 knots, well, you can easily depart with a 5-knot crosswind, or I guess even a tailwind. There's nothing really dangerous about it, but when it gets gusty winds and at about 10 knots or so, then I believe, but I should look this up, then it becomes useful or relevant to pick the right runway. But as we can see now on the map. Yeah, San Luis is showing 0 knots of wind, right? Yeah. Okay, so perhaps it's only windy in this place. Also notice that ORBX isn't showing realistic windsocks, which is kind of frustrating. I believe at Palm Springs, ORBX Palm Springs, the windsocks did show the right direction. So I don't know what's happening here. Perhaps I should change some settings, special effects settings in my prepared. I don't know. Anyway, that was the briefing. We've got good weather still. Let's have a look again and switch back to the cockpit because that's something I forgot last time. Sorry guys, I need to do a lot of things at the same time here. Reset the view. Look at this. Is much better weather than yesterday, which was already forecasted. But still, it's good to see that forecasts can come true. Okay, so that's a good thing. Expected runway, well, let's choose 29 because that Mooney that just comes by, that drone PilotEdge airplane is also using that runway, so let's stick to that. Okay, runway length is okay, then departure left hand. Traffic pattern flying a couple of times, pretty basic. Okay, then brakes. Brake test if they are firm. Well, park and brakes released. Let's put my feet on the pedal. Up. Yeah, so let's see if differential braking is working. Yeah, we've got feedback here, so that's a good thing. Park and brakes are set. Beacon lights is still on. Yeah, it's still on. Navigation lights only on if night or IMC. Avionics master verify off. Yeah, it's off. It should be off before you do your engine start. Cowl flaps are open. We checked. And fuel tank selector can be set to both. Then we're going to move on to the checklist to start the engine, which is a flow that you should memorize, which I already did. So let's do that one again. Okie doke. So batteries on, not the alternator, not the generator, but the battery. Battery is on. Then we use the fuel pump to prime the engine. 1, 2, 3. Cut off. Fuel pump off. Throttle set to 1/4 inch open, perhaps even a bit more. hoping that we get to about 1200 RPM when we start the engine. Yeah, that's it really. So now we have to take a look that no one is walking around, no people flow here by ORBX. No, everything is clear. Clear prop. And there it goes. Mixture full in. Almost 1200 RPM, that's good. Oil pressure is coming up. Within 30 seconds it should be in the green. There it is. Then generator on. Bloop. We can see that the battery is now charging. Obviously because we have drained the battery by doing all that exterior light stuff. Then we lean the engine for max RPM. Again, the procedure is wait until you see a RPM drop. There it was. And then push in the mixture a bit, and that would be maximum RPM. Then we can turn on the avionics, and the virtual headset is automatically on, so that dampens the audio. There we are. We can move on. I'm already now in the second checklist, if I remember. Yeah, I've already started with the before taxi to runway, at least in my checklist here, but it doesn't really matter. But let's verify that I've done all the checks of the engine start, fuel pump, propeller area, brakes. Yeah. Mixture throttle alternator on, ammeter we checked, oil pressure we waited within 30 seconds in the green. Annunciators, something that I should include. So when I start, we don't see any oil pressure messages or whatever. Yeah, should include that. And obviously we can now retract the flaps. I've already noticed that, but I thought that was part of the next subset of items. But still, now we can turn off, retract the flaps. Cabin light, heat defrost we don't need. Okay, move on. Avionics, master. Yeah, so this is the before taxi to runway. Now let's do this by heart. I've never done that before. Let's see how far I can go and verify whether we did right. TrackIR on. So engine is warming up. We should reset to 1000 RPM. I forgot about that. And we can wait for the engine to warm up here in terms of oil temperature and cylinder head temperature. Okay, on. We can now put the transponder to on mode at VFR. This is all set. This is ADIS. So we can now listen to ADIS. That's what we're going to do. ForeFlight I have in front of me. I don't really need it actually. It's a great app, don't get me wrong, but for only writing ADIS, because otherwise I'm just referring you guys to SkyVector and watching along, so it doesn't really, I don't really need a map here on ForeFlight, so I'm only using it to use it as a scratchpad. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, so let's listen to the ADIS. Guys, if you like, you can write along, get a pen. If you're new to Flight Simulator and doing this stuff, writing down ADIS is a great first exercise to get along, or just a notepad or on your computer, it doesn't matter. Here we go. San Luis information. Bang.
San Luis Airport's information. Tango 20250. Wind calm. Visibility greater than 20 miles. Sky condition. View clouds at 2000. View clouds at 3000. Temperature 1 warp 2.6. Altimeter 3008. ILS runway 11 in use. Landing and departing runway 11. VFR aircraft. Stay direction of flight. All aircraft read back short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact.
You have Tango. Yeah. It's getting easier. Hey guys, welcome. Yeah, I think I've got it. Well, I've not got it all. I didn't got the temperature and the dew point. When the guy starts with these cloud ceilings, then that takes some time to write it down. But there are two. Didn't got the winds were calm. I got those. Yeah, but that corresponds with SkyVector because San Luis showed that winds were calm. Yeah, 2000 and 3000 view. So that's okay. So following the comments, the advice by disgraced pilot, which is also here in chat, we are actually we would only need to stay clear of clouds. So we can actually just fly in between them if we like to, which I really looking forward to in another episode. But today here on the traffic pattern, there's not a lot to worry about in terms of whether this is okay. So the altimeter, let's set that to 3008. Again, corresponds, the airport elevation corresponds with Oceano. Winds are calm, so that's okay. We're going to depart at 29. So let's set the heading bug. On the standby frequency here, we've got PilotEdge.
Kicker 740 Lima, LA Center, climb and maintain 15,000 LA altitude.
Could listen to this all day. Guys, let me know, is the audio, the sound volume
from us, climb and maintain 15,000
by the of the PilotEdge controllers, is that loud? Is that loud enough, or because I can tweak with some settings if it isn't? Let me know if you can hear the PilotEdge controller. Switching back to CTEF of Oceano 1 to 2.7. Okay, then set that. What should be part of this? Oh, that's it, I guess. That's it before taxi. Let's have a look. Avionics master, we turn it on. Transponder we set. ADF, VOR we don't need. Com radio we did. Com radio 2 we already set. We listened to ADIS we did. Altimeter we set. Heading indicator, we've got the clock. Well, it's not really that important, but I like to include it. I would like to see temperature here in Celsius all the time for freezing, heat, and universal time. It's loud enough, yeah, it's fine. Guys, I'm noticing that your messages in chat come in late, and as in my first episode we discovered that slow mode was actually on in the chat, even though it was unchecked here in my box, in my settings box here in Twitch. So I'm going to check it on and check it off. Somehow when I start up Twitch, it seems to stick in slow mode even though it doesn't show. So I don't know. B-Sword, hello, welcome. Okay, clock, set that to Zulu time. Airport diagram we don't need. We don't need to contact tower, transponder, heading bug, taxi lights. Yeah. So then oil. Yeah, that's the next step. Yeah, that's then oil and cylinder head temperatures. If they are in the green, well they are. Which is safe for the taxi. We can also. Well, I've already mentioned that they should be in the green at least before we do the run up. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna taxi to the right side here as last time. Runway 11, cross runway 11, all the way over as the Bonanza did before, or the Mooney did. I'm confusing those aircraft types. I'm sorry. The Mooney, I've heard it is. Then to 29er, and we take off, and then left pattern, left pattern, left pattern, left pattern a couple of times until I die from starvation and well. Okay, so that's set. Then we're going to release the parking brakes. I'm going to immediately test my brakes, and I'm going to look for the turn indicator here if it turns along the ball. I don't know what it is called, but the bank. This is the slip indicator. Is this the slip indicator? Bank, turn indicator, and the slip indicator. Let me know, guys, if that's and we check whether the heading indicator is also working, and if it is in sync, 200 or 200, 200, that confirms. Yeah, and that's about it, I believe. And crosswind and soft field correction. Yeah, those are part of the taxi checklist. Cool. Okay, guys, let's get going. I'm talking too much, which I don't regret because this is part of a flight training series. I'm trying to learn how to fly, so thinking aloud is quite useful. There we go. Up. There they are, the people flow. Let's announce. Oceano traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango Unique is crossing runway 11 at the numbers. Oceano. Making sure again that no one is on final or departing. Oceano traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango Unique is clear, runway 11. Oceano. think that that is worth mentioning too. B-Sword, what happened to all those people from the raid? Yeah, man, that was wild. In the first episode, a lot of viewers just came in, and a lot of followed actually. But now we're around 40. Well, currently we're around 7, but yesterday we're around 40 viewers. I guess it depends on each day. In the weekends, most people will view, I expect. So let's see tomorrow. Also, as I mentioned in the beginning of the episode, I plan to get my dad here on Twitch through voice. He's also in chat, but the software wasn't really, or our settings or configuration wasn't really prepared, really set properly to do that. So we're gonna do some experiments later tomorrow, I guess, to see if we can make that work. So then my dad and me can chat while we are flying about Flight Simulator, and he can monitor chat to make sure I don't miss any of your questions or remarks. Also, he is a Flight Simulator pilot, but I will let him introduce himself the next time. So here we go. I didn't do my brakes. Have you noticed? I didn't do my checks at all. I didn't do my brake test, although I've used my brakes. I never did that consciously. Didn't look. Yeah, that's part of beginnerism, I believe. Okay, there we are. This is the run-up area. Let's get here to the corner, far corner, turn, like so. I mean, look at that windsock. That's not winds calm. At least this is not St. Louis. Louise, I know, but I don't think that that is corresponding at all. Okay, so I didn't do my taxi checks at all. Why? Because I just totally forgot about it. I just went into taxiing and then I got distracted. So I don't know how I can overcome that kind of those distractions. Perhaps not talk too much. and well, focus, I believe. That's a bad thing. Forgot about my taxi checks. Okay, so the run up then. So what we're going to do is close our windows, preventing debris, stuff, dust coming in. When we go to high RPM rates, full in prop, full in mixture, parking brakes are set. That's about it, I believe. Then 1800 RPM. There we go. 1800. No annunciator messages. Temperatures, I should have checked the temperatures first before I did the run up. I knew that it was already in the green, but I should check anyway. So that's something that I forgot, because I cannot do the run up if these are not in the green. So here we go. Mag check. Left. Well, that's okay. It's a little bit choppy, but it's okay. Then right. Now you can listen. You can hear. Right? So again, the right magneto is not working right. So what we did last time, as is on the checklist, go back to both, reset to 2000 RPM, and then slowly pull back on the mixture until it becomes quite rough. A little bit more. No, that's too much. Like so. And we'll wait for 20 seconds. And that increases the temperature within the cylinders, I believe, and removes or cleans the fouled plugs. I guess that the lead that is on the spark plugs then vaporizes, and is actually an effect of bad mixture management by me by flying. So I should have more aggressively leaned to mixture while taxiing, I think, even though I correctly carry out those peak RPM leaning. So perhaps I should study into that, and I should lean more aggressively on ground. I don't know. So 20 seconds have passed. Full mixture. So again to 2000. Go back to 1800. And again, we're going to do the test. Left magneto. It's okay. Right magneto. I'm not that pleased. Again. 2000. I need to fix this, guys, before we take off. I don't want to run any risks. Perhaps a little bit more aggressively. Don't die on me now. I also think, by the way, why we have fewer viewers today is because that Twitch error. Because now the current episode, this stream is now being categorized as Dota 2 game, another Microsoft Flight Simulator game, which I tried to fix, but apparently Twitch has removed by accident all Flight Simulator games, even X-Plane, so I cannot reset or edit. Okay, again, full mixture. Back to 1800. Now, come on. Left. Okay, both. Right. Better, but still. I decide that we go. It's not that bad, but we should check when we're on the ground. Do you agree, guys? Should we just go? Okay, so then we're gonna check the charging of the generator. Landing lights on. Ploop, we can see a quick dip there, which is okay. Landing lights are off. Then the propeller cycle one time for the RPM. Yeah, governor works. Then the manifold pressure to see if there's a rise. There is, so that's also confirming that it works. And lastly, the oil pressure should drop and then stabilize into the green again. Return to the green. Yeah, it does. So the prop is working too. Then full idle to see if the oil pressure still remains. It does. No annunciator panels. Nothing wrong with the instruments here. That's okay. Returning to 1000. And we can put in some leaning here just in case. Okay, position we did, park and brake we did, taxi lights we didn't need, flight control checks, that's something part of the run up too, I didn't do that. So to the left, aileron there, elevators, twitching my neck here, rudder, yeah, so that is working. Where are we? Flight control radios we checked. Oil head temperature. Yeah, that's something that I should have checked before the run up. That's the cylinder head temperature and the oil temperature. I already mentioned that, but still. Magneto check we did. Check. Engine gauge is primary instrument. Yeah. Well, not that bad, but not perfect. Check the temperatures and the flight controls. Yeah, that's about it. Okay, so we're ready for takeoff. At least I am. I don't know what the flow is. Let me check. Before takeoff, cabin door. Yeah, they are closed. Seat belts on. Fuel tank selector to both is checked. Cowl flaps are open. Flaps. I'm not going to set them to 10 degrees this time. And in addition, not going to set that much nose down trim as last time. So let's set it to not the K of takeoff, but the echo of takeoff, the E. Mixture full rich we didn't do. Propeller full in we did. Transponder set to altitudes. Good job, Tim. Forgot about that last time. Pilot takeoff briefing. So again, takeoff, left hand traffic patterns. The Mooney just landed, so once it clears the runway, we take off. A couple of traffic patterns just for practice. Yeah, touch and goes. Okay. Weather is still good. What we're gonna do when we reject our takeoff. I didn't mention that in the previous episodes. What we're going to do when the shit hits the fan when we take off. Well, if it happens before our rotation speed, we can just pull back the throttle and come to a stop by using the brakes and exit the runway. If it's after rotation, and there are different stages here, right after rotation we can just go to idle and land again, and land on the runway if we have enough spacing there. But still, if it's not right after rotation but at 100 feet or 200 feet, I've put this on the checklist by the way, 200 to 300 feet, it isn't recommended, strangely enough, not to make a left or right turn, 360 or 180 turn to the left or right turn back to the airport, because when turning with an engine off, you drop like a stone, and even before you make a 90-degree turn, you're already in the trees. So under 1,000 feet, you need 1,000 feet, a little bit less, to make a 180-degree turn without an running engine. So below that altitude you should pick a spot within a 60-degree angle in front of you and just pick a spot and land it there. That's the idea. And above 1,000 feet you can safely return and make a 180 turn to either side. That's the idea. And before landing impact in the trees or whatever, turn off the batteries and unlatch the doors, because otherwise the doors get crushed in and you cannot open the doors and free yourself. But let's not expect the worst. Let's just take off in good order. Landing lights on, strobe lights on, altimeter, the transponder is set to altitude, mixture full in, prop in, trim is set, fuel selector to both, heading corresponds not at all. Do you see? Compass shows a different heading. Heading indicator shows about, well, 32. And this is showing 41. So 41 it is. Gyro drift precession. For traffic pattern, that's relevant. And this is set. Okay, that is confirmed. Altimeter set. Runway is clear, I believe. I don't know where that Mooney is. I don't see it anymore, so that's good. And we don't have anyone on final. Guys, let's go. Parker and brakes released. Oceano traffic, Skylane, Papa Hotel Tango and Mike is departing runway 29 for left close traffic, Oceano. Okay, following the taxi line here to the center line. Okay, oh, there's the Mooney. Okay, there we go. Not full throttle yet, everything is in the green still. Full throttle. Airspeed is alive. Stay on center line. Let a bit of right rudder. 50, 60, and that's rotate and go up, baby, go up, go up, go up, go up. Still too much nose down trim. Okay, now focus. VY is on 80 knots. Let's keep it there. And not turn, and keep it on 29er. A little bit more trim up. Oh, that's what I did. I removed the rudder input, so now the airplane likes to turn to the left. And obviously in a full power setting we should always put in right rudder. 700 feet, that's 300 feet below the traffic pattern. Look outside first. Turn. 15-degree turn max, because we're climbing. Still 80 knots. Traffic pattern altitude, level off, and now we can increase the turn to a standard rate turn and pull out the yoke. There we are on crosswind, like so. A little bit overturned there. We can now make our turn to downwind. No one there. Standard rate turn. Oceano traffic, Skylane, Papa Hotel Tango and Mike is turning left downwind. Close traffic runway 29, Oceano. Stay on level, Tim. And that's downwind. I'm behind the ball. Let's check. Okay. There we are. A little bit of more power. trimming. Okay, so we should be parallel with Oceano right now, and there it is. Bonanza is standing there in the run-up area. You can see the strobe lights, so hopefully he is out of here. Oh, no climb, no climb. When we are on final. If not, we should do a go-around like the last episode. So there we go. Now we can put in 1 notch of flaps to slow already down and descend already a bit. I'm 100 feet too high. And I need to trim nose down a bit. Not really on course, but it's not too bad. There's a scenery load here. Okay, still descending. There's Oceano. Well, let's make the turn. Oceano traffic, Skyline, Pop Hotel, Tango, India Mike is turning left base, runway 29 for a touch and go. Oceano. Not too much power. We need to keep descending here. And I should have looked outside before I made the turn. But a lot of things are going on right now. Okay, so here we are. Base. Put in another notch of flaps. 80 knots is perfect. Make sure no one is coming in on final. And making sure that Bonanza is out of the way. Mooney. Me and my Bonanza. There's a ring to it. Bonanza. What are you flying? A Cirrus? A Cessna? No, a Bonanza. Okay, there we are. So, ready to turn to final. We're a little bit too high, I guess, don't you think? There we go. Oceano traffic, Skyline, Pop Hotel, Tango, India Mike is turning left final, runway 29, touch and go, Oceano. I can see the Mooney, and it's on the center line, or close to it. I guess it's on the right side of it, because they used X-Plane to record those drone flights, and I think that X-Plane explains airports and prepared airports don't match. Or is it just a windsock? Is the windsock there? Okay. Coming in. We can go to full flaps. I need to center my view here. Yeah. When we have the field made, which is just in a sec. I say here. So full flaps. Reduce speed to 65, so we're still a bit too fast and also a little bit too high. There we go, not going too slow. Oh, that's a big drop. Yeah, there we go, there we go, there we go. Okay guys, pray. Oh, that was too rough. That was a big jump. Okay, so flaps up. Full power. Come on, baby. Whoa, 60. That thing goes like a rocket. Okay, now put in, keep in right rudder. Let's increase that speed to VY, and now we pitch up to keep it there. Still putting in right rudder. So we're now on track, as you can see, at 290, which is goes much better. B-sort, come on, be kind to me. I'm practicing here. It's even a wonder that the plane is still intact. Okay, 700. Still keeping in right rudder. 15 degree. Keeping that speed on 80. And I should have looked outside before we made that turn. 15 degrees. There we are. Traffic pattern. Leveling off. Increasing the turn rate to a standard rate turn. Increasing speed. Keeping level, reducing power, and now we can slowly remove the rudder input to, and I've already turned past my crosswind lag. There's so much stuff going on, my god. Okay, let's make that other turn to downwind. It's clear. Oceano traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango Mike is turning left downwind, runway 29, Oceano. There is the downwind leg. Again, keep it there, level, little bit higher up. Need to pull on the yoke, so I need to pitch up a bit. Pitch up trim, I mean. Yeah, I know, Orion. There's an issue with Twitch today, at least when we started the stream. Suddenly, out of nowhere, I was playing League of Legends somehow, and from that playing list, Microsoft Flight Simulator was removed. I couldn't find it anymore, even no X-Plane. So I decided just to go with whatever game Twitch was actually connecting me to or assigning me to, which is silly. But I guess that's the reality. Perhaps Twitch already resolved it, but it was strange. Yeah, shall we keep flying? Already passed the number, so one notch of flaps. Oh, one notch of flaps. Oh, pitch down, of course, when we turn. When we put in flaps, our nose. Yeah, okay. This is better. Not going too slow here. 500 feet descent is about right, I guess. A little bit of more nose up trim. Okay, let's make the turn. Look first. Clear. Oceano traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango India Mike is turning left. Base, runway 29, touch and go, Oceano. There we go. Watch that speed. There comes base. Straight. Keep on descending. We're too low, it seems. Also, there's a hill beneath us here, which we're pretty close to. So let's keep on level, keep speed in. No Mooney on final here. No. So far, so good. Well, we don't need to climb, but we need to stay on level. Yeah, that looks like right. It looks right. Make the turn. Oceano traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango India Mike is turning left final, runway 29, touch and go, Oceano. A little bit too late, as you can see, but not too much. Okay, watch that speed. It's too fast, Tim. Too fast. And I didn't put that extra notch of flaps in on base, which I always should. That explains why I go too fast. So now we've got 20 degree of flaps on final. Okay, so what did go wrong? What went wrong last time? I dropped like a stone. So perhaps I already pulled out the throttle, went to idle too early. So let's try to fix that this time. Okay, so we're now at 70 knots, about 70 knots. Guys, pray with me. Send in good landing vibes. Get your puke bag ready. Here we go. $65. Watch that speed, Tim. Let's go full flaps. Where's that switch? There it is. Not too fast. Just let it glide down by its own. No, not too nose down. Okay, there we come. Concentrate, young Jedi. Nose up. Watch the end of the runway. End of the runway. Throttle. That's much better. Flaps up. Keep on center line. And full throttle again. Much better. That's a good trick I suddenly reminded myself of. 60 rotate. There we go. Wait until we get to VY. Right rudder. That's VY. 80 knots, so pitch up. Again. But that's a good trick. To always look to the far end of the runway rather than at the spot that you would like to touch down, because that messes things up very quickly. There we go, 500 feet. Thank you, Steven. Doing my best here. 700 feet. Make. Look first. Clear. Left turn 15 degrees max because we're climbing. Keep that on 80 knots. While we are turning, we need to level off at 1000 feet because that's traffic pattern altitude. Allow the speed to increase. Increase the turn rate to standard rate. Look at the stuff I need to do at the same time. It's like cooking an omelette. Okay, there we are. Crosswind. Level. Not going too fast. There we are. Should remove that rudder adjustment. Make that turn. Should have looked outside first. Make the turn to downwind, not descending. Oceano traffic, Skyline, Papa Hotel Tango, Mike is turning left downwind, runway 29 for a touch and go, Oceano. Not really consistent with my announcements, but I think they are clear. You are 100 feet too low, Tim. Okay, there we go. Climb. Cool. Yeah. Well, but I believe what I said just a while ago. What Gordon Ramsay said about cooking a good omelette shows the real true skill of a chef, because there are so many subtle things there. The same goes for traffic pattern flying. A lot of stuff is going on at the same time. We're midfield. So now pull back on the yoke. 1 notch of flaps. The second notch of flaps we're going to put in on base. Push in on the yoke because the plane reacts to that flap change. Start very slowly with the descent. Also, guys, if you're interested in the whole traffic pattern procedure, obviously you can just imitate these procedures, but I've also made a diagram, a summary, a graphical summary of the perfect traffic pattern for the Skylane at least. Free download on uncertifiedpilot.com. Go download it. It's good stuff. Even includes announcements and... Okay, let's move on a bit. Since you're climbing and in a high wing, you probably want to bank in the opposite direction to raise your wing to better clear your turn. High wing, you probably want to bank in the opposite direction. I don't follow. Let's make a turn here to base. Oceano traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango India Mike is turning left base runway 29. Touch and go, Oceano. Should have watched first. There we are. That's base. And what should I do? Yes, I should turn on 20 degree flap. Still on 80. We're still a bit too far away. Perhaps we are turning to base a little bit too late because this is a really extended downwind lag. And keep our traffic pattern more tight. And I'm also, if I'm honest, starting to worry about that Mooney because I haven't seen it anywhere and it is probably flying nearby. Oh, speed, 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 speed. Don't stall me now because then we are really in trouble. There we go. Oceano traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango Mike is turning left final, runway 29. Touch and go, Oceano. Nope, not going too fast here. A little bit on the low side, but not bad. But this is far too away. Far, far away. I mean, I should make that downwind or their base turn much earlier. I mean, this is silly. I'm not an airliner. It's good for practice though, but I mean, there's nothing really wrong with that. Also, I noticed when we will fly on ATC, this is an uncontrolled airport for practicing purposes. But in future episodes, we're going to depart from Oceano, which I'm really looking forward to fly with you guys to another airport and really chat with PilotEdge, because we're not using it really, other than getting annoyed by that Mooney. But then I noticed that ATC controllers, air traffic controllers, can actually assign you to fly an extended downwind lag for ensuring aircraft separation. And while I am flying, I can hear the engine, the RPM, little bit choppy. Perhaps that's that foul plug, and we should keep in mind that that right magneto was giving us some worries, right? Remember? So okay, there we go. Again, guys, pray. Good landing. Get your puke bags ready. Going too slow. Still put in throttle. I've put in... Flaps up. Throttle full in. Right rudder. Stay on center line. 60. Rotate. There we go. Again, keep that rudder in. Wait until we reach VY. It's 80 knots in the Cessna Skylane. And there we go. Pitch up to keep it there. Oh, I will look at your Orion, I will look at your comment in just a sec, because I cannot do that at the same time. Yeah. Here we are, 700 feet. Make our turn to the left. Look outside first, Tim. It's clear. 15-degree bank. Then at traffic pattern altitude, level off. Increase our turn to a standard rate turn. Allow the airspeed to increase to about 100 knots. There we are. That's crosswind. Remove the rudder correction. There we are. Then look outside first. No one's there. Make a turn to downwind. Keep level. Keep level. Keep level. Keep level. Oceano traffic. Skyline Papa Hotel Tango Mike is turning left downwind runway 29. Touch and go. Oceano. I don't know how many patterns we're gonna fly still, but I'm really enjoying myself. There we are. Again, I dropped 100 feet in my turn. I should remember to pitch up when I turn. Okay, okay, okay. Okay. Here we are. Again, parallel to the runway. Is the compass still? Yeah, my TrackIR doesn't follow me at all. Whoop. It is now at 110. Well, it kind of like reads out, so that's good. Let me see. Alright, so if you're turning left instead of looking left, if you're turning left instead of just looking left to clear your turn, you should raise your left wing by banking right. Oh, so oh, yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, that's a good tip. So before I make my left turn, if I now would make a left turn, it could help to just make a right turn first, so now we can see better before we actually make the left turn. But well, our view is not that obstructed, really. And I haven't seen real world pilots do that while they flow. We should make that turn already, because I would like to fly more tight patterns. Didn't put down that notch of flaps. Oceano traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango Mike is turning left base, runway 29, touch and go, Oceano. There we go, put in another notch of flaps. Too much things going on at the same time. We're much too high, obviously now. That's my base turn. Where is it, Mooney? Not dropping too fast. Keep in some power. I notice about 1700 RPM. It's okay. Still too high. There we go. Let's make our turn. Oceano traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango Mike is turning left, final runway 29, touch and go, Oceano. There we go. Go. Watch our speed. Watch our speed. Still too high. So let's maintain our speed by dropping our nose. If we were flying too slow. There we go. This is better. Increase speed a bit, or power a bit, and reduce speed. Oh, there's the Mooney. Taxiing 229. We're a little bit too low, so let's stay a bit on level. So the glide slope catches on. Yeah. There we are. Okay, again. My landings were not that bad. The first one was awful. I probably damaged the airplane. Okay. So here we go. Field made. Last notch of flaps. Oh, not. I'm again pulling on the throttle when I do, which I shouldn't. There we go. There we go. Center line. Again. End of the runway. End of the runway. End of the runway. End of the runway. Keep that nose up. End of the runway. End of the runway. End of the runway. Yeah, I pulled up too much at the last time, but not bad. Flaps up. Let's do our last traffic pattern, guys. Not because I don't want to fly anymore, but because I'm getting tired. Man, it drains my own batteries. Keeping in that right rudder. Waiting for VY. There we are. Let's pitch up. There we go. Great flying weather, by the way. Yeah, I almost nailed it. Almost nailed that landing. Not get distracted by the chat, Tim. 700 feet turn. 15-degree turn. There we go. I should have looked outside first. Man. There we go. 80 knots. I'm now on 90. There we go. Level off. First things first. Standard rate turn. Allow that speed to increase. Throttle back. There is the crosswind leg. Here we are. Stabilized. Good. Look outside. Is it clear? It is clear. Let's make that turn. Oceano traffic scanning. Papa Hotel Tango Mike is turning left downwind. Runway 29 for a full stop. Oceano. But it also makes sense when I watch some other YouTube movies by real-world pilots. M0A. That famous flight instructor guy, which you should really watch. He mentioned that it's better to make your announcements in the turn of the traffic pattern rather than when you are established on the leg, because in the turn there's a lot more surface area of your airplane that other pilots in the pattern can see. And also, if you announce that you are turning to base or downwind, pilots can have a much better idea of where you are exactly. If you say I'm on the downwind leg, you can be in the beginning of the downwind leg or at the end. But if you say I'm turning to base, then you immediately know there he is. He should be there. So I've incorporated that, well, not trick, but strategy, I guess. Proper altitude management. Already. Start with my flap. Push nose down, because that flap, to counter that flap reaction. There we go. Keep tight that pattern. Well, this might be too tight, but let's just do it because I feel like it. Oceano traffic scanning. Papa Hotel Tango Mike is turning left base. Runway 29 full stop. Oceano. There we go. There comes our heading bug. Level. Notch of flaps. Make sure no one is on final. That Mooney already departed. I mean, imagine doing these laps or these traffic patterns with other real pilots on PilotEdge in an uncontrolled airport. I would really love to do that. Because then you're not only concerned with your own flow, traffic flow, but you should also be careful of ensuring enough separation with the others. Okay, there we go. Oceano traffic skyline. Papa Hotel Tango Mike is turning left final. Runway 29 full stop. Oceano. A little bit too early. Much too early, really. There we go. Again, reset TrackIR. Oh, keep focusing on that runway. Last landing of today, episode 4. Guys, do you have suggestions what we can do next time? I have. in the next episode. Okay, here we go. Field is made. Keep a look on that runway. Much better. 65 knots. Okay, don't pull the yoke. Keep it there. Also, just varying your RPM is quite bad for the engine. So we're too high. Let's forward slip. Can I do that? Well, I did a bit, but I will explain that in another episode. I think that should work. But concentrate. End of the runway. Keep that glare shield by the end of the runway. Not climb. Keep it on the... I can transport the Queen if I like. Flaps up. Keep it on the center line. Aerodynamic braking. Yoke pulling the yoke backwards. Reduces strain on the brakes. There we are. And let's turn clear. Exit the runway. Come on, hurry up. Should be more fast here because the sooner the better. Oceana traffic, scanning Papatel, Tango, India Mike is clear runway 29, Oceana. There we are. Parker and brake set. Oh man, my head is popping. Blah. Okay, did that. Back to the check. So the first thing that I do is leaning for ground operations. Well, I should actually set it to 1200. Let's do that properly. Come on. Come on, come on, come on. Focus. Mixture full. Lean on the mixture until we see a drop. There it is. Push it in a bit. That's max RPM. That's okay. Reset to 1000. Turn off the landing lights. Turn off the strobe lights. Transponder set to on. Flaps retracted. That was it. Or have I forgot something? Let's check. Sorry, let's turn off TrackIR. Before taxi to parking, landing light off, taxi light off, solo light off, pitot heat off. We didn't turn that on either. 1200 RPM lean from max RPM. We did flaps, verify retracted. Cowl flaps, yeah. We kept those open during the traffic pattern, which is okay because the engine is continuously working out. Transponder set to all on. We did airport diagram we don't need. So that's okay. Yeah, that's okay. Taxi to parking, crosswind correction, soft wind correction, yeah. And I would like to pick another parking spot. Because that other parking spot doesn't make sense. I mentioned it last time, that the previous original parking spot actually is exactly in front of that hangar. And when we start our engine, we blow, push, dust and other stuff into the hangar. And I think that's a really nice consideration of any pilot to take into consideration the entire airport and the other pilots. So let's just mimic that. Don't you think? So guys, what spot shall we do? Shall we take? That will be a challenge. In between there. Shall we try? I mean, we can also try this one. That's a more safer one. Shall we try to get it there? On the right side? Let's do. Okay. No, not mixture full in. Keep it there. Okay, so park and brake removed. Let's go. Slow pace. Slow pace. Steady turn. Make sure our left wing will not bump into that car or that hangar. Let's just have faith in this taxi line that people have actually thought about that. Okay. Oh, this is gonna get tight. But we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it, guys. Here we go. There are no tie down spots here. Okay, here we go. Slowly, slowly, slowly. I can't see the line. I cannot. So let's just say that it's about here. Slowly, 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 slowly. Brake. That's awesome. That's awesome. Brakes released, park and brake set. Then transponder we set to standby mode for next time, so we're not transmitting any transponder code when we turn on the avionics next time when we fly. Then we turn off the avionics. We mixture cutoff, wait until the prop stops. You see the wiggle, the nice wiggle, the A2A Simulations wiggle. Starter switch to off, generator off or alternator off, batteries off, lights were all off, beacon always stays on. Then the fuel selector to the left side, low wing side, but which is by default left because there's no low wing side, I guess. And we push in the yoke, control wheel lock, and we open the door. And we say, thank you for flying with us. Thank you for flying with Uncertified Pilot. We hope you enjoyed your flight. And didn't puke all over. Well, I think there was one bad landing, but the others were quite nice. Were very nice, really. Let me see. What we're going to do is we set everything. Wheel chucks we're going to put on. We don't have any tie down spots here, so we're not going to do that. Let's check the shutdown list before I think I actually did everything. Oh yeah, I forgot to do that. The magneto test. Before I turned off the engine, I should actually do a very quick magneto ignition switch to the turn to the off and then on to see if the RPM is actually influenced by that. And if it does, if it reacts, then you know that the magnetos will actually be turned off when we shut down the engine. So forgot about that. Remember to do that next time. Batteries off, lights off, cabin air is all we did. Rudder trim reset for takeoff. Well, okay. We reset it next time then. Cabin doors open, cowl flaps close. Yeah, I put it on the checklist even to put it on close when we leave. I guess for preventing other animals or stuff getting in those in those cowl flaps. Fuel tank selector set to low wings. We did control wheel lock set, passengers, baggage. You can leave the airplane. Pitot tube cover. Oh yeah, that's a question my dad had before we started. I said in the previous episode, or the one before that, I said, well, the pitot tube cover only makes sense, I think, just based on my own reasoning, in cold conditions. So in these conditions currently, we don't need to put on that pitot tube cover, I think. It seems like a jacket almost to keep it warm or prevent it from freezing, or that's what I think. He said, well, okay, that seems true. It sounds okay, but still, also you would like to put that cover on because stuff can go into that pitot tube cover, like it can in the static ports or in other holes. So it might just be good to just do it always put that pitot tube cover on, and I don't know the answer to. So if there's anyone here who knows, let me know if that is the case. Should we always put on the pitot tube cover after a flight, irrespective of the outside air temperature? Disgraced pilot, do you know? Let me know, because I'm really looking forward to the answer. I don't think it's necessary. TOW aircraft, we don't need wheel chucks. Oh yeah, let's put on our wheel chucks. Blip, blip, blip. No, not that window. I need that one. Yeah. So that's wheel chucks. Yeah, there they are. Close. And aircraft tie down we cannot do. And engine oil. Yeah. On what tachometer hours we are? 23 already. So we are already halfway of changing our oil. When we reach 50, because we're flying a lot, we should change our oil, which is not that exciting, but I think it is. So we need to visit the maintenance hangar to do that, which we're going to do. Well, that's episode 4. Man, I feel like popcorn. man, blah. But I'm really, really excited. This is getting somewhere. Getting more into that flow, which is great. Still some mess ups. So I forgot about a few items on the checklist, which is not bad. And also I'm really pleased that I stick to the checklist after my flows to verify. I fixed a few items on that list because I forgot about that, and because I reread the checklist, I did those anyway. During the flight, I forgot about most often looking outside before I make the turn, but a freaking lot is going on there in the traffic pattern. My gosh, and it's just me here. I mean, if other pilots will be flying there on PilotEdge, which we will encounter soon, I promise. Cannot wait to see other real-world pilots on PilotEdge soon. Imagine that, 3 other pilots in a traffic pattern, and I need to make sure that I'm separated from those guys and listen to what they are doing while I'm managing my own. I mean, that should be completely automatic. Well, internalized. The whole traffic pattern skill thing must be completely internalized, and then the only thing I should be concerned with is the ADC. And still, it takes up most of my attention just to even fly the skylane in the traffic pattern. So there's more practice to do here, and to drill it, to really drill and practice that traffic pattern flying. So we should take that into consideration the next time we fly. And I don't know exactly what we're going to do next time, except for doing some traffic pattern flying. Perhaps some slow flight. What do you think, guys? And steep turns is also something that we can do. Stalls. Let's do stalls. Let's do stalls. Stall warning stuff and spin avoidance stuff. And we need to pick another practice area to go for. So Disgraced Pilot mentioned very appropriately that this practice area isn't really a good practice area because these airports are here and chances are pilots would be arriving or departing from here. So what other practice area here nearby can we go to? The ocean doesn't make sense to me because if something goes wrong, well, we are in trouble. I guess we can glide back to land, and ocean is on the coast here. But still, what would be a good spot? Perhaps we should fly over and go to this spot. Oh, that's also something we can do. Fly to Kamada. I don't know. It doesn't seem like a very exciting airport, but we can just do that for the sake of flying to another uncontrolled airport. So what about this? Next time, tomorrow, we're going to fly from Oceano to Kamata. And in between, we are going to do slow flight and stalls. And I think that's what would be a good flight. We do a traffic pattern on Kamada, a full stop, and we head back. That's cool. I think that's cool. And we cross over those wilderness areas, some mountain ranges. A much higher airport elevation, by the way. Let's have a close look. Kamada. Is it private? Oh, it's private use. Oh yeah, that's the PVT there. So that means that we cannot land there other than contacting the owner and saying, hey, are we allowed to? And I'm going to honor that. I'm going to respect that in terms of these real world settings. So we cannot go to Kamada. What's another airport that we go to? This is all private pilots, PVT private pilot. Lost Hills. Doesn't sound that safe to go to. Lost Hills. Well, guys, perhaps it's an assignment for you. In preparation of tomorrow, search for an airport, an uncontrolled airport that we can go to that is not that far away, nearby, that we can visit. And let me know. And we can pick one and we do that flight. We do some slow flight in between, some stall warnings. That would be great, I think. Tim, if we have suggested airfields, can we send them in? Yeah, Spencer, yeah, sorry, you were first. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm suggesting. So please do. Think about that. And we create our own fun flights. Guys, thank you so much for being my passengers. And even though Twitch was weird and we were actually assigned to Dota 2 game on Twitch, and probably some weird folks have been watching our stream. Next time I hope that Twitch actually recognizes Flight Simulator as a important, valuable game category, and we can catch some other Flight Simulator enthusiasts out there that we can inspire to get more serious with Flight Simulator. Thank you so much again. Thank you for your questions. I'm also trying to get fixed the whole audio stuff with my dad. I would really like him to join me in the airport, in the airplane here, through voice chat, and we can chat, and I can introduce you. I can introduce him to you, and he can help me to straighten up my my flights too, perhaps. So we're going to figure that out soon, and hopefully we get that working by tomorrow. So thank you guys, thank you for watching, thank you for attending, and see you next time. Bye.
I'm passing through 500 Chinook 715. 715, 134.125.